we are a software travel management company, and that is where our development, our product and features that I work on are related to the travel industry. And I have a development and product management background in B2B and B2B2C applications at companies like Civil Systems, Oracle in the past. And my passion as a product manager is to deliver products and features which are customer focused and which deliver business value.
Okay, that's nice to hear. Saurabh, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, I'm Saurav Anand. I'm a second year student of IIM Kozhikode. Currently, I'm pursuing my MBA here, and I have nearly 3 years of experience in Coal India as an assistant manager, where I was in the supply chain domain. Then I switched on to the role of project manager, where I was working with a bunch of consultants and a team of in-house executives uh, uh, to customize an ERP business solutions for our company. Then I think that's pretty much about my work experience. If I talk about my personal interest and aspirations, so I'm someone who's very passionate about how uh, technologies like AI and blockchain could be used to solve complex business-related problems in general. And yeah, that is something.
That's nice. So, come back to Sirisha. Can you please share a bit about your current role at Exgenica? Is it, how do you
Agentia.
pronounce it?
I think it's
Agentia.
Agentia.
Yeah.
Okay. And the key areas you focus on as a product manager.
Yeah. So in Agencia, I know I own a portfolio of products which are basically in the area of user management. This is how do we onboard users onto Agencia, users meaning travelers who want to use our software to book tickets for their corporate travel. How do they get onboarded onto our platform, and how is the user lifecycle managed? Then I'm also responsible for fraud management. So as a e-commerce site, we can actually face fraud where some people can try to attack and like book under the false names and cause business loss for us. So I also take care of that module, and also work on risk and compliance module, which is related to how to make sure that we can screen the travelers and everything, they're compliant, and the travel stays safe and secure. So these are the modules. This is the portfolio I manage. And within this portfolio, I am responsible for the end-to-end ownership of this features and product delivery. Then I also manage the business metrics in each of these areas, as in how do we go about improving the numbers on fraud, or improving the metrics on how long it takes for the travelers to get onboarded onto the site. So I manage and own the business metrics in these areas. I define the processes around it. Then we develop features and deliver them. I also take care of maintaining the backlog, so that we basically plan what future delivery should be in these areas. And then I do leadership communication around, what we achieved in all of these areas, so that the leadership is aware of what we have achieved and what we are going to plan in the future.
Right. So Sirisha, you talked about like your experience in B2B space and as well as B2B2C space. So I would like to know from you, like I'd like to understand that how the stakeholder management thing is different in a B2B as well as in B2B2C space from a regular B2C product management industry, and like how do you make sure that if the requirements that are clients' requirements that are dynamic in nature are uh, taken care of.
Right. So if whether you talk about B2B, B2B to B2B to C, or B2C, right? In
Right.
everything, your focus is the customer, the end user who is logging in. Except in B2B to C, you also have an additional layer of your admins in the middle, right? Like you have the corporate users in the middle. So you have to now keep an eye on both your admin users, like the corporate the admin users that are the in between you and the end traveler, as well as the end user traveler. So you actually have to know and differentiate the personas that are business personas or your customer company personas as well as the traveler persona. So that is basically that is a different flavors of all of these that we talked about, right? Like, so at the end of the day, I think the idea is that you need to understand your personas, and eventually you will have to deliver to make your personas happy, right? So that should be your key, regardless of which of these flavors of business you work in.
Right, right. And as product management lead for Agentia's user management and fraud management and for risk and compliance modules, like you talked about, uh, could you talk about some of your responsibilities and challenges which you faced in these roles?
Right. So if you talk about like the risk and compliance module, I can talk about one example problem that we work on a day-to-day basis. So here in risk and compliance, like I said, we have to make sure that the travelers who are using our platform are compliant, and and that the safety of the entire platform, as well as everything is guaranteed, right? So for that,
Mhm.
what we need to do is we have to kind of get more information about each traveler, so that we are able to basically verify them that these are safe individuals who can travel using our platform. But when we do develop those features where we are requesting user for more information about themselves, those also can cause customer friction, right? Like, for example, if I ask you to come on board to my platform, sort of, and then I'm asking you 10-15 details about yourself, maybe you will drop off, right? Like, you are not interested in giving so much information. So the challenge, basically what we face, is that we have to keep a balance between the business value we are getting by by making sure that the travelers are compliant, versus the user experience that we might have issues with if we put too much of a questionnaire for the travelers. So these are some things that we, on a daily basis, we have to make the decisions. And what we do is we do use things like A/B testing and customer testing and customer feedback. Thoroughly, we do this testing before we release any of these enhanced fee enhancements, right? So we have to make sure that we balance that between business value and the user experience.
Right, understood. Would you like to take up any question, Anubhav?
Yeah, sure. So, Sirisha, this, like, when I was going through your profile, it was quite interesting that you started working when we were like quite young, like so that was quite interesting to, and it's a great opportunity to interview you as such. So, thank you for being in the show. And then my next question on Oracle experience is that how do you strategize the team management, and how do you employ to lead and inspire the cross-functional teams to deliver the key initiatives to customers?
Yes. Okay. Thanks, Anubhav, and thank you for pointing out how old I am. And then, no, I would like to call myself experienced. Okay, not old. But yeah. So for cross-functional teams, especially I think in big companies, or even in medium-sized companies, right? Like, no project is just only done by one team. Usually, you have multiple teams. There is a UI team. There is a server team, a database team. At least at the minimum, like, you have these various types of teams that you have to work together to deliver any feature. So I would say, in order to handle the cross team kind of projects, the key is communication, right? So every time, I think, especially at the beginning of the project, the contract between various teams should be set correctly, right? Like, you have to start from the beginning and be clear about which team is delivering what, okay, and set that contract. And that's not enough, right? Then you have to, throughout the project, you have to make sure that you are syncing with those cross-functional teams, and keeping them updated on what is happening. And you know that no project goes exactly 100% the way that you anticipate in the beginning of the project, right? Things will change as we go. That is why it's very important that you have that continued communication with your stakeholders, to tell them any changes that might happen, and hence they need to adjust their contract. So any contract changes also can need to be effectively communicated and at a regular pace, so that the teams are all going together on the journey of the project. So I'd say communication is the key. So there are various wonderful tools that are available for communication, cross-team communication. It could be a simple Confluence plan. It could be, like a more fancy tool. If your organization, allows you more tools, you can use those. So it doesn't matter. Or it can be just an email, as simple as that, right? But that communication and that frequent checkpoints are really the key to deliver successful cross-functional team projects.
So as a PM, you on a frequent basis you would be taking interviews with the customers to get the feedbacks. So how do you actually reach out to customers? Like it's all about the data we have, the email address, the phone number in particular. But how do you actually reach out? It's quite if you could tell the users, the audience.
Yeah, actually, see, I have been in B2B and B2B2C, right? So usually we have a client relationship manager or who know the information about the customer, like, because we are already constantly communicating with the customers, right? So we have an entire team of this client success team that is communicating. So usually I will reach out to the client team, success team, saying that, hey, I would like to speak to some customers because I'm trying to get feedback for so and so area. So that is how basically I reach out to the customers. And I have realized that most of the time customers are very happy to talk to you, because they definitely have their long list and laundry list of items they would like to feel heard. So I never had a problem that if I want to talk to a customer, and it's not like I have to cold call customers, right? Like I usually have a client success team who will give me some contacts who are willing to talk to you. So that is how I approach talking to the customers. And I really highly recommend that any product manager, whether it is a beginner or an advanced product manager, you should always look for opportunities to talk to the customers directly, right? Like maybe in the beginning of my career, I was a little shy. I didn't do it. But now if I think, I feel that I should have even then tried to reach out directly to customers and speak to them, because that's the best experience you can get. And when you talk to the customers, you want to make the most of your time, right? Like you want to, because you have a limited time with customer. It's not like you can go to them 100 times. So you have a half an hour with them. So just like this interview, how you did some prep before you came to this one. Even when you're talking to the customer, prep a little bit, right? So that goes a long way. And make sure that you speak less and let the customer speak. So the idea is to listen to the customer, not like, talk over them about your own ideas. So let the customer speak freely. And at the same time, gently you can, redirect them into the topic if it goes too much all over the place. So gently bring them back onto the script so that you can get the answers that you are looking for. Be goal focused, but at the same time, don't make the customer feel that they are only being asked questions and not being heard. So I think that is a key to actually being with any customer and show that you're empathetic. So obviously they will open up much better than otherwise. If you go like a robotic demeanor, it's better to go with a little bit of an empathetic thing.
So talking about your entrepreneur, yeah, that's been nice, insightful. Like the collaborations and the communication between the customers and the internal team, that's quite informative. And talking about the entrepreneurial experience as a founder and the CEO of Triple R RRR Creations. So shifting gears a bit, as you have been the founder, what inspired you to start a premium apparel company, and how did you uh, get into like a product management background and influence the approach, and how do you approach the entrepreneurship journey altogether? So can you
Yeah.
tell how did it all start and how it went along?
Yes. So I think all of us, including yourself, Anubhav, and sort of like we all have multiple talents, sometimes hidden talents. I'm sure one of you is good at singing and one of you is good at something, dancing maybe. So it's a similarly for me, even though I was very much into like software, and I never did anything other than, studying and then being in software. But as I grew up, I realized that I have such a creative side of me, which is this whole women's fashion, and especially because I was living in the US, I wanted to combine the Indian textiles with Western silhouettes. So that was the idea I had. So I thought that will be a good kind of an area that I can niche, that I can try to do. And definitely this was for more of a creative satisfaction. When I started it, it was not so much entrepreneurial in the sense that I want to earn money, but I was like, let me first see how I can creatively satisfy myself, right? So how did my product management influence this? My entrepreneurship is a very good question, actually, because I think, because being a product manager, the only thing you know is how to build the product, how to envision and build a product, envision and build a product. So similarly, I envisioned what my clothes will look like, and I wanted to build it, and I set all the processes all around so that that product will be built. So my focus was just on that product, so, which was great. But at the same time, there are many things that are required in entrepreneurship, which is sales and marketing and so many other things that obviously with time I learned, but I could have been maybe even more better at, which is why eventually I stopped it. But I'm hoping to restart it at some point, because now I have learned more things around marketing and sales and things like that. But yeah, just coming back to my entrepreneurship, it was great because I could, that product management never manager in me never left me, because it was always there while creating even clothes for women, right? So yeah, so it's a great skill to have. And I mean, and my clothes were appreciated. The sales were not as high as I wanted, but the sales were there. It's like, for me, a software person, to sell even one piece of clothing was huge success, right? Not having any background at all. So yeah, so definitely I think there are always lessons that you can borrow from product management to any other area also.
That's really really inspiring, Shirisha. And especially when you talk about background, like I see you have a very extensive background, and that too in a very specific technical area. So like here at B schools, and a lot of people aspire to become a product manager, and the thing is that they are not specifically from that technological background, or uh, yeah. So like for those aspirants who want to take up, who are looking for a career opportunity in reputed companies like Amex or maybe Microsoft's, so how should they go about it? Like how should they prepare themselves for, so that they
Yeah,
become eligible for that kind of roles?
sure. Sure, that's a good question. And sometimes I always feel lucky to have the technology background, because there are so many things that are made easy for me, right? So the people who don't have technology background, I would like to say that there is really no shortcut. You have to learn and get hands-on on a few technology tools. You will not be maybe the same as a master's in computer science, definitely, but there are enough tools nowadays that you can download and get your, like for example, maybe download Postman, right? Like for example, when we are talking about APIs, right? APIs,
Mhm.
then the way you can test the APIs is using a Postman tool. So download Postman. A lot of these tools are available for free. So download it and do a couple of calls. It's not code. It's just like a few things you have to learn. So these are not coding tools. These are just tools that will at least help you. That are much high level. They are much high level compared to coding. So you will be able to, as a non-technology person, also you will be able to read that tutorial or read that video, and you will be able to write one API call. And the moment you write one API call, it will click in you that, oh, this is what API means, and this is how it works. And so when someone else is talking to you about API, you already can connect. And really, I think that or download Adobe Analytics, and in that try to see how you can create a couple of dashboards. There are only, I wouldn't say, go like you are non-technology, right? Technology can scare you. So I'm not saying that you should go and start coding or you should learn every possible technology. There is no. You need to just pick 5 tools maybe, right? Which are easy and which are like you can download for free and you can read about it, and you can write one small sample. Do that, and I think that will make a lot of difference. So that's what my advice would be.
Right, right. And also, are there any sort of certifications that can, enhance their profile or make their profile more visible when they are trying to apply for those roles?
Yeah, in that one, I'm a little bit confused. Actually, see, I personally like signed up for Stanford Lead Program, which was, I guess, what suited me for the stage of the career that I am in. But a Stanford Lead Program is also very expensive, so I cannot really suggest that everybody do the Stanford Lead. But wherever possible, try to do a good brand, like like a course or a certification from a good brand, so that will make your profile more interesting and more interesting for companies.
Okay. I
And
also have,
yeah, and
yeah,
yeah, go ahead.
yeah. So, no, you can go ahead first, then I'll.
Oh no, I was just saying that you can definitely also. I'm saying that. I mean, it's not necessary that you always have to have a certification written on your resume or anything. You learn, like focus on your self learning. Like for example, read some books or listen to some podcasts and webinars and things like that, and keep assimilating a lot of knowledge around product management. And then that moment you assimilate things, you automatically become confident. And when you are doing the PM interviews or when you are writing your resume or when you are talking about your experiences, so maybe not everybody can afford to do certifications. So for
Right,
those people, self learn a lot.
right. Makes sense. Um, so I also have a very fundamental question. Like in B2C space, we see that product development, it goes in a iterative or more of a as agile manner, right? Like the agile sprints. But is it also the same thing in the B2B or B2B2C space? Because like I understand that if the client requirements are quite dynamic, then incorporating all those changes in a short timeline could be cost intensive. So, like, how do you ensure that cost effectiveness is maintained in such kind of projects?
Yeah. I think compared to maybe many years ago, now even a B2B or B2B2C, they are all have to be agile. It can't be that waterfall model. But maybe pure B2B has slightly longer cycle compared to B2B2C, something like that. Maybe that can differ, but everybody has to be agile now. Nobody can afford to do a 1.5 year project without, iterations, right? So that I would say is the general industry, norm now. And in terms of if talking about the experience in like maybe agencia, it's very agile, right? Like as much as you think that we are going to take customer requirements and then we are going to analyze them and develop something, it doesn't work that way. There is actually a lot of market competition. There is a lot of things that we have to react to. Like we get to know that some competitor has launched something or market is moving towards this kind of structure, not that. So we have to really react to that. So while some projects can be stable projects that can run for 3 months or something like that, a lot of them actually we have to do much with a faster pace and faster, like with the less predictability. We have to deliver fast. So that happens more often than you think. So we all have to definitely be very agile. All companies, all organizations should be agile.
Right, right. Okay, so I have one last question. It is based on how do you strike a balance between the innovation and the different sort of user requirements or user feedbacks? Like, is do you have like do you find any particular strategy that is quite effective when it comes to implementing the easy to use features and increasing the overall functionality of the product that the current that for the clients.
Okay, so there are two things you asked. One, let me first address the easy to use features, right? So the idea is that the easy to use features, when I am developing my features, right? I'm always thinking of myself as the first thing I do is I think of myself as the consumer or customer for that feature. So that is the rule of thumb I follow. And I will say that I will ask myself, how fast or how quickly or how easily can I use this feature without having to be trained about it, right? Like without anyone giving me any training, will I be able to use this feature easily? So this is a certain my own personal uh, ways that I've come up with to judge the simplicity of the user that I'm building. So to me, that is very key. That can I intuitively use this feature without anybody telling me how to use it, right? And then the second part of innovation is actually a very tricky in organizations, like in many organizations, because innovation has to include experimentation, right? Like you have to experiment with various features and even, I mean, I would like to say that user feedback and innovation are not don't have to be two separate things. Innovation can come from the user feedback. So user has given you feedback, and from there you can take out an inspiration that, oh, maybe this can be done this way, and this is a possibility for innovation here. So they are not two different things. And I mean, to think that I have to innovate without any user feedback is actually impractical. If the innovation comes from feedback, it's even better to sell to your organization. So innovation basically involves experimentation, and that is a little bit of a tough sell in organizations, because you have to convince your management that you want to experiment on this feature, right? So experiment, that whole word will throw them off, saying that, oh, are we sure we have the time and the money to do this experiment? So I think as an organization, you have to try and rally people around your thoughts of experimentation, and then you have to do this innovation, experiment, fail, and if you are going to fail fast, so that you can just move on to something else. You don't waste too much time and money on that. So that I would say, but I'll say that it is definitely a challenge to convince your management to do this kind of experimentation. So that is where you have to find or talk to the right people, or find your right person who can support you in that kind of innovation.
Quite informative. A lot to learn. And regarding how do you see the PM industry evolving? So like as you have seen, start with you said like Stanford lead is quite expensive. The scores to take, but what are the key skills that could help people could evolve with the industry changes? So how do you see what skills that really you learned in Stanford lead that could really help, and what do you see in the changes, the skills becoming redundant altogether, or what new skills that could the audience could acquire that could really help?
Yeah. So as a right, like over the years, every time the technology changes. For example, earlier it was everybody talked about APIs. Then now everybody is talking about AI, ML. So technologies will keep changing, but the fundamentals of the PM job will remain the same. They might change a little bit, but overall they will remain the same. So you have to focus on those fundamentals, whether it is customer focus, whether it is communication. These are the pillars that you need to always make sure that you should train yourself on. For example, if I talk about my Stanford lead program, I did some courses where they taught us how to use the power of story, as in, like, how do you make your customer story come through, so that you're able to tell your management why you want to develop something. So how do you do that? How do you make your leadership skills better? How do you support innovation in your organization? How do you, like, there are those kinds of fundamentals that will never change with the technology, right? So always make sure that your fundamentals, you can always train yourself and retrain yourself, by listening to various webinar podcasts. You don't have to do expensive course or certification. There is a lot of LinkedIn learning is there, and there is a lot of resources now available for free. So just from that, you can get a lot.
So let's go with the quick questions, like you could answer in one word, one line, and one phrase. So how could one person find if somebody wants to switch as a fresher, and if somebody has experience but not into like product management as such, so how could one person get an internship or start with the product owner, product analyst role? How could one find a good job or internship?
Connections, use your connections.
Okay. On
Since you
LinkedIn.
said small, short answer, so I'm just saying, yeah. For example, when I switched from development to product management, I happened to mention to my lead developer that I would like to switch to product management. So later, when they found out that they were looking for product managers, they gave me the position. So always, talk to people that you're interested in switching. You don't know what will come out of which connection.
Okay. So, what is the one key skill that you want to learn in coming 6 months or 1 or 2 years?
Yeah. Can I say something that is not product management related?
Yeah, cool.
I want to learn French.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
me too.
Same. We have probably sort of missed the chance, but already have a chance. If possible, I would be going to take it next year.
Oh, really? Cool.
Uh,
Cool. Yeah, we can practice together. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. So regarding come back to PM, what is the one skill that you want to upgrade to?
I want to learn more about, as in like some kind of lean product development. This is something that I'm very interested in. Lean product development means that you're actually developing products in a way to reduce the waste of time, resources, and effort, but at the same time get customer validation fast and fast, and that kind of thinking, lean product thinking, is what I would like to learn and implement.
Okay,
That's great.
and yeah, that was informative because being outside, somebody who's outside PM would not recognize the importance of having lean growth. And coming to three tools that you use every single day as a PM, that is non-negotiable kind of thing.
Slack,
Okay.
Jira, Confluence,
Okay. Cool.
Outlook.
And Outlook. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. That that is quite common. And do you have any questions, Saurav?
No, I think I have asked a lot of questions, and I really enjoyed the conversation, particularly how you put out failure as a learning opportunity. Like I really like the sentence where you said that if you are gonna fail, fail fast, and then learn and then move on. So I think it was quite an insightful conversation with you, and I'm also looking forward to staying in touch with you. Maybe we could uh, invite you again in our future podcasts, and again we could have.
Absolutely.
Uh,
Absolutely.
just last question before we wrap up. So if person who wants to switch, because few of the people as our audience want to switch, so how do they build a portfolio that the person could showcase an interview? So what are the ways that people could build their portfolio?
One, I don't know if I can say the entire portfolio. Of course, portfolio as in any skills like technical skills and any of your organizational skills, all of course should be done. But one thing you have to show is that you have a product thinking. For example, in any of my interviews, they would always ask me, tell me one app or a product that you use on a daily basis, and then they use that as a basis, and the entire interview is based on that, right? So for example, I like using Urban Company a lot because I use that to order so many things, so many services, right? So I always take that as an example. So now what I'm trying to tell the people who want to prepare for interviews is, if you take an app and you analyze it, right, like this Urban Company, then they will ask, oh, so what do you like about it? I'll say, simply in one click I can get whatever I want, so that I like. So what don't you like? I say that, maybe this is taking so much time, so that part is not nice. And then later they'll ask, how can Urban Company expand in future in its business? So they will, people can make an app. So have the product thinking everywhere and in every app that you are using on a daily basis. So keep analyze it. Okay, oh, what I like about this, what do I not like about this? So have that kind of training in your brain.
So like how could one person showcase the portfolio? Like,
You mean to say in a resume or
yeah, in
LinkedIn
a resume,
profile?
or like probably uh, tear down of the product, probably having a slides to show, or probably a new idea from scratch, making a MVP, or how a person could build up a portfolio.
Yeah, that is exactly. I think, of course, see, once you have the thinking, you can record it in the form of either slides or you can record it in the form of blogs. So your portfolio then develops there, right? Like your blogs are actually very good. Even slides might look a little gimmicky or something like that. A blog, a well-written blog about your thoughts on product or whether how you want to build an MVP, is a very good thing. And of course, you can to that you can attach slides and things like that. But yes, blogs and these kind of things can help you expand your portfolio. I can think of more, and I can message you guys later, which you can send to your users if required. But right now I can only think some of these as the ways.
And what are, can you name a few podcasts or YouTube channel that could really help?
My one of my favorites is 280 Group. I did any of the webinars that they
Okay.
have. So I go back. They have the resource actually. So I keep listening to their webinars.
On
And then
LinkedIn,
I
you
actually LinkedIn.
on LinkedIn or you?
No.
Okay.
On their website, on their website, yeah, on the 280 Group website, in the resources, there are all the list to all their past webinars also. So I'll sometimes pick some topic and I'll listen to those topics basically, and they're pretty good. And other than that, I also read, like for example, it's not just about reading about product management, right? It's about a well-rounded thinking. So like I'd like to always have one technical book, like not coding book again, sorry. Like I'm reading Satya Nadella's Hit Refresh. So you try to understand what is he trying to do with AI, right? Like what is his leadership style? And these are all things that eventually add up on PMs. PMs are leaders, right? So PMs need to have the leadership skills. So eventually. So that's why I think the sooner you start reading about all of those, the better it is. So in addition to sorry, I was talking about, there are books that are very useful that you can read.
Any last podcast do you listen to, or do you could
I
you
am
recall any
actually
podcast?
little bit I am little bit against podcasts, okay? Because
Okay.
I don't know, I like webinar style a little bit better. So usually I do a webinar only, or YouTube video, or LinkedIn learning videos also these days. When I search for anything, LinkedIn is coming as the top, and they have built a lot of amazing content, including reading material as well as videos. So I would suggest that. I am not a podcast person.
So LinkedIn Learning, you're saying, or
Yeah, LinkedIn
LinkedIn
learning,
Learning?
as well
Yeah. Okay.
as LinkedIn has just content around lots of topics. So I don't know whether it is comes under learning or something else, but that is also quite I felt that is a very like a valid source of getting content.
Okay. Cool, Sirisha. So, with that being said, we already extended like 10 minutes. Uh, Not an issue. It was quite informative, so I want to extend more. I could not resist. Uh,
No problem.
with that being said, it was a quite informative session, and we would love to have you in next session. Just let me know beforehand so that we can
Sure, sure.
schedule the next event.
Yes,
And
yes.
any closing sentence you have, Saurabh?
Yeah. Thanks for taking out time for us, and it was
Sure.
amazing interacting with you. We got to know a lot of insight informations. So yeah, thank you
Yeah,
so much.
always
Yeah.
happy to help. It's great to be connected to young people like you guys, because I really, like I mean, I really would like to see even the future coming out well. So yeah, please stay in touch, and we'll definitely do another one again.
Yeah, with
Definitely.
that being said, the audience could get in connection with Sirisha and Saurav, and that could really help. And with that being said, have a good night, guys. Take care. Bye bye.
You too.
Good
Bye
night.
bye.
Bye bye.